It's time for another exciting week of Texas high school football. These are the picks. Welcome into the picks presented by Visit Arlington, your guide to Texas high school football weekend. My name is Greg Tepper of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. Thank you so much for tuning in. Week 5 of the Texas high school football season. Believe it or not, we are actually like halfway through the regular season. Some of these teams that are not making the playoffs will be finishing the halfway mark of the year this week, and it's kind of hard to fathom that considering the season feels like it just started. But if you look around the state, there are huge matchups all over, not just because it's ranked team versus ranked team or anything like that, but because district titles really and truly are on the line this week. There's a lot of huge games all across the state. We start in Angleton. 7 o'clock Friday night at Wildcat Stadium in Angleton. It's a District 10-5A Division I showdown as the Angleton Wildcats take on the Angleton and Shadow Creek Sharks. What are the keys to this matchup? Key number 1, immovable object against immovable object. We're talking about the defenses in this matchup, and they are going to be the dominant forces here. Both defenses are playing at an extremely high level so far, each averaging just 7 points allowed per game. And there are superstars on both sides. Terrence Cooks for Angleton is a playmaker, sideline to sideline. And if you haven't seen Xavier Alford, the outstanding defensive back for Shadow Creek, you are missing out. These two defenses are going to put on a show on Friday night. Which one shines brighter? Key number 2, Shadow Creek's offensive balance. So we didn't really know what the Shadow Creek offense was going to look like without their star quarterback, Jamarian George, from last year, but new quarterback Kyron Jones has stepped in a big way, a dual threat dynamo. He can throw it and he can run it, but he is not alone. Javian Bell, their outstanding running back, has been really good this season as well. They are able to do a little bit of everything, this Sharks offense, and that is going to provide a unique challenge to this Angleton defense. So, can Shadow Creek establish both the run and the pass, or will Angleton make them one-dimensional? And key number 3, turnovers. You can probably say this for every football game ever played, right? But it seems especially valid here in this matchup because, A, both these defenses are really good at making plays. In fact, Shadow Creek has forced 13 turnovers in just 3 games so far, while Angleton, despite playing 2 games, has been a playmaking defense itself. Not to mention that I figure that there's not going to be a ton of possessions in this game. This feels like the kind of game where every time you get the ball, it is going to be extremely valuable because you really don't know the next time you're going to get the ball back. So who is able to play the cleaner game, and more importantly, which defense is able to force more big plays? Who am I picking? I'm going with Shadow Creek. I'm riding the hot hand in this one. I think that Shadow Creek, the defending district champs, get the nod because of their offensive balance. Kyron Jones has really been special for this Sharks attack. Now, if Angleton's going to win this game, and I think this game figures to be pretty close, if they're going to win, it's going to start with their defense. Duh, I've kind of mentioned that a couple of times. But also their running back, Jordan Jones. Grind it out on the ground, keep the ball away from this Shadow Creek attack. But another interesting wrinkle in this one is that in the last 3 weeks, Angleton's only played once. They had a week 2 bye, then they played Clear Creek, and they were supposed to play last week against Houston Westside, but the game got canceled due to weather. Is there any sort of rust factor? I don't know if that's the case, but I do know that Shadow Creek should come out ready to play. I think the Sharks bring home a victory. Let's go out east, 7:30 p.m. Friday night at Lobo Stadium in Longview. It's a District 11 6A matchup as the Longview Lobos welcome in the Rockwall Yellow Jackets. What are the keys to this matchup? Well, key number 1, points. That's going to be the coin of the realm in this game and pretty much every Rockwall game because Rockwall can score, and they tend to give up some points as well. In fact, they've played 4 games so far, and those 4 games have averaged 89 points combined. And it's not like Longview's any slouch as well. They're averaging 34 points per game this season as well. These two teams are going to score. If this gets into a shootout, who comes out on top? Key number 2, everybody besides Jackson. I'm speaking about Jackson Smith-Njigba, the outstanding wide receiver for Rockwall, the blue chipper committed to Ohio State, is sensational. If you've never seen him before, he is one of the very best receivers in the state and therefore in the country. But the thing I like about him is that he kind of opens up the offense for everybody else. When you're talking about J.J. Williams or Brendan Bays, there's a lot of different weapons on this Rockwall attack. So can Longview take away those weapons, or will everybody besides Jackson Smith-Njigba have a big game? And key number 3, halftime adjustments. 2 very good coaches in this one, in John King and Rodney Webb. And in fact, if you're into this kind of thing, it's actually the outgoing THSCA president in Rodney Webb and the incoming THSCA president in John King. But that's beside the point. The point is, these are two very good, very innovative minds who find little wrinkles throughout the game, and they tend to have better second halves than they do first half, simply because they have the opportunity to make halftime adjustments. I'm really interested in the chess match in this one. Who is able to find that extra edge at halftime between John King and Rodney Webb? Who am I picking? I'm going with Longview. Obviously the champion's advantage, as well as being at home. Longview actually hasn't lost at home since October of 2016. But the other thing that I really like about this is the Longview defense. I think they're playing at a very high level right now. They shut out John Tyler a couple of weeks ago. They beat a team from Louisiana last week in impressive defensive fashion. Haynes King, the quarterback for Longview, figures to have a big game, but keep an eye on this Rockwall attack. They're going to come out with a lot of different wrinkles and interesting trick plays. Rodney Webb is one of the very best in the state at finding that little thing and taking advantage of it. I think this game figures to be close and potentially very high scoring, but I think Longview comes away with a victory. 7:30 p.m. Friday night at Jack Sportsman Bobcat Stadium in Refugio. It's a 2A matchup between the Refugio Bobcats and the Mart Panthers, and you'll remember this game last year where Mart pretty much tanned the hide of Refugio. It was a dominant effort by the Panthers, and don't think that Refugio has forgotten about that. They want a little bit of revenge, and they are well-intentioned to get it, especially with quarterback Austin Ochoa and the do-it-all athlete Ysidro Mascoro. Now, Mart has scuffled a little bit against bigger teams, and this is another bigger team, 2A Division II Mart versus 2A Division I Refugio, and I'm interested to see what they're able to put together offensively. Can Kyler Martin, their quarterback, and their running back slash defensive end slash do everything Rodrell Freeman find a little bit of traction against what's been a pretty good Refugio defense? I do think this game is closer than last year, but I think Refugio exacts a little bit of revenge. I think the Bobcats bring home a win. To Austin we go, 7 p.m. Friday night at Gupton Stadium in Cedar Park. It is a battle of unbeatens as the Austin Vandegrift Vipers take on the Cedar Park Vista Ridge Rangers. And how about Rodney Vincent's Rangers? 4-0 and rolling right now behind quarterback Kyle Brown. They have been very impressive to watch. Now, Vandegrift's also unbeaten, although they scuffled last week a little bit against Pflugerville Hendrickson. Can they kind of right the ship, especially offensively? That said, I think the Vandegrift defense, led by Jax McCauley, is the difference in this one. I think that Vandegrift brings home the victory. And another battle of unbeatens, this one in San Antonio, 7:30 p.m. Friday night at Ferris Stadium in San Antonio, as the San Antonio Brennan Bears take on the San Antonio Brandeis Broncos. And I think this game is determined by pace. It's determined by tempo. Who sets the tone in this game? For Brandeis, they want to get out and run. They want quarterback Jordan Battles to be the dominant force in this game, and there's a good reason why he might be, because he is a dual-threat dynamo. On the other side, I want to see what Darian Tolfree and the Brennan running game can do to grind this game to a halt and let the defense do the rest. If this game's into the 30s and the 40s, I think that benefits Brandeis. If this game's in the low 30s or the 20s, that's a benefit for Brennan. I think this game is close, as Brennan versus Brandeis games tend to be, but I think the Bears of Brennan bring home a victory. But those are far from the only big games in Week 5 of the Texas high school football season. Let's get to the lightning round. Waco-Lothiga beats Midlothian Heritage. Sunnyvale beats Dallas Madison in a battle of unbeatens. And I like San Angelo Central to hold serve at home against Weatherford. Post beats Slayton. Palacios stays unbeaten with a win over Vanderbilt Industrial. And Port Neches Groves edges Baytown Lee. Port Lavaca Calhoun gets past Gregory Porton. Friona stays unbeaten with a win over Dalhart, and Panhandle outslugs Wellington. Newton squeaks by Gilmer. Fort Bend Travis wins a battle of unbeatens with Fort Bend Elkins. And a battle of unbeatens out east, I like Mount Vernon over Hugh Springs. Crazy cross regional matchup, I like Midland Lee over San Benito. Give me El Paso Austin over El Paso Andrus, and Hawley stays hot with a win over Windthorst. Hamlin over Stratford, Crowley over Saginaw in a battle of unbeatens, and I like Gainesville over Bridgeport. Collinsville beats Seymour, Brenham takes down Bastrop Cedar Creek, and I think Cibolo Steel bounces back with a win over Schertz Clemens. Cameron Yo stays perfect with a win over Troy. Arlington Martin bounces back with a win over Arlington Lamar, and Anderson Shiro beats Granger. Alto beats Corrigan Camden. A&M Consolidated beats Huntsville in a very tough game to call. In our six-man game of the week, I like Garden City over Rankin. And those are the picks. What am I wrong about? Which games did I leave out? Leave comments down below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And of course, see us at texasfootball.com. Thanks for watching. Enjoy Week 5 of the Texas high school football season. We'll see you.